Yo guys, in this video I'm gonna give you the best optimized graphics settings for Nvidia RTX 30 series GPUs and Ryzen 5th gen CPUs. So I'm gonna give you the settings here, pause the video if you need to, and if you want a more detailed description then keep watching the video and I'll get to that in a bit. This is how the settings look in-game. This config is designed to have the best looking game, but also maintaining high FPS, tweaking the settings we can to minimize that FPS loss, but also making the game looking really good. So it's very detailed, shadows looking very crisp, and it flows very good. I've turned on every setting to the maximum, and this is the game running on the highest quality it can get without changing the render resolution. So for this benchmark we're gonna use the Farm 18 map, and if you run back on the map to this corner, climb on top of this garage, and you go up to this corner, line yourself up like this, and aim at the bottom of this paper. And this is gonna be our benchmarking start-off point. The game is running now at around 70 to 78 FPS. So if we go into the settings here, and we go to display, if you click full screen exclusive, it's gonna be the best option. And go render resolution, keep it up 100%, and we're using no DLSS, so just native 1440p here. So let's start off with anti-aliasing. This effect, it smooths out the corners of everything on the screen, so it removes jagged edges. So if you have it on SMAA 2x and keep it on low, we go from 70 to 78 up to like 82, 83. It's not a lot, but it can boost like 10 FPS, 15, or like, yeah, 10 FPS at max. So if you go and change it from SMAA 2x and you go up to high, you will lose 1 or 2 FPS. And if you change it to filmic and go to normal, you will have the same FPS now as you have on SMA 2x on low. So if you want the best looking anti-aliasing, you should go filmic and normal. Texture resolution, it depends on your VRAM on your GPU. So if you have a 6 GB model, then I recommend keeping it on normal. And if you have 8 or above, then go high. Texture filter, anisotropic, it doesn't affect FPS at all, so just keep it on high. Nearby level of detail and distant level of detail, if you disable these or put them on low, you will get 2 to 4 FPS boost. Clutter draw distance, it doesn't impact FPS. But if you have it on long, then it will reduce popping on the screen, like items popping up. So keep it on long if you want to reduce popping. Particle quality and particle quality level, it affects sparks like from the box right here. It's very minimal on the screen, and it also does like it impacts a bit, but not that much. But if you keep it on low and then particle quality level, if you go very low it looks very bad, but if you keep it on low it looks decent. So You can see the sparks a little bit more now. But it doesn't really impact FPS that much. Bullet impact and sprays. This can reduce like 1 FPS at max. But the game is very badly optimized, so like it drops FPS if you shoot your gun. So it produces smoke, and also like it has to like count the bullets and stuff. So if you look on the FPS right now, I have 83, 82, and if I start shooting, it drops down to 78. And if you have more FPS, it's gonna drop a little bit more than that. So it's just how the game is optimized. And also perks like Dead Silence, it also impacts FPS. So if I pop Dead Silence right now, you can see I lose from 83 to 80 FPS. Even 79 there. It increases the FOV, which also reduces FPS sometimes. So shader quality, it affects like the quality or like the colors, like the blending options and colors and stuff. So yeah, it doesn't really impact FPS that much, but like if you have it on low, you will get 1 or 2 FPS and you won't even notice it in game. So keep it on low. Tessellation, turn that off. Like you won't pay attention to it in a multiplayer game, and it can give you a couple FPS here and there, depending on the scene. Terrain memory, keep it on max. On-demand texture streaming, keep it disabled. It will reduce, like, if you have it on, it will limit your. You can limit like download speed, and it creates stutters and like uneven FPS. So just keep it off. Streaming quality, yeah, this doesn't change how the game look, but keep it on low. I have to be outside of the game to keep it to change it. Volumetric quality. This has a pretty good impact on FPS. If you drop it down to low, you will gain around 5 to even 10 FPS at some times. And even on normal, it will reduce like FPS by 5. So if you go high, you lose 10 FPS, medium 5 FPS, and keep it on low to have the best FPS here. Deferred physics quality and water caustics. It can drop FPS on maps with water, and yeah, if you want, you can just turn them off. Like you won't even see them that often, so just disable it. Shadow map resolution, better shadows. If you go very low, the shadows will look really bad. Like you will have a lot of jagged edges and stuff on the shadows. And also you will get like 5 FPS if you have it on very low. But also if you put it on normal, you will have a little bit better shadows, more detailed shadows. And you will have the same FPS as on very low, so just keep it on normal. Screen space, shadows, it casts like shadows on the weapon and stuff. So if you turn it off, like you won't even notice it in game, and you will get like 2 FPS at most. Spot shadow quality is a pretty weird setting. It set the detail of level of spotlight shadows, but yeah, it's to demonstrate this, I've put this on low and anti-aliasing on the lowest that we have here. So you can see on this wall right here, you've got small dots like all over these like objects, and you can even see like here it looks very, very grainy and very bad. So that's what that is. And if I put on now we're using this anti-aliasing again, so if I put spot shadow quality on high, it's gone. Like now, you can still see like grain, but it fixes like most of the artifacts here. But that of the cost of like, you can see the FPS right now, it's got like 125 FPS. And if I put it on low, I gain like 5, 6, 7 FPS here. So the best way to reduce that, like if I put on anti-aliasing on filmic normal, it fixes all of the dots, and it also keeps the FPS a bit higher. So that is what I recommend. Spot cache, it stores cache of like shadows in the VRAM, but the game keeps crashing on me, like for me on ultra, so just keep it on low. Doesn't impact FPS. Particle lighting gives like a better color on when like the particles shine and whatever. You don't notice it in game, so just keep it on low. Ambient occlusion, and you click show more, you can see this. You can change the quality here. So it adds like better shadows around objects and stuff. But if you change this to like normal, you gain like 5 FPS. And if you disable it completely, you gain like 12 FPS. So definitely disable that. And screen space reflections, it like gets better reflections on like wet surfaces and stuff. Like it depends on the map really, but if you have it on high, you lose like 5 FPS, and if you have it on normal, normal and off, like maybe 1 FPS, but usually like it doesn't matter, so just keep it on normal. It looks very good. Static reflection quality, keep it on high, doesn't matter which one you choose, same FPS. Weather grid volumes, it can cause like particles and weather particles and stuff. Just keep it on ultra, it doesn't affect FPS, and yeah, it looks good sometimes. Nvidia reflex low latency, I recommend having on. You actually gain like 3 FPS by turning it on. And for me, if I have it on plus boost or off, I lose like 4 FPS, which is weird. So keep it on. And then disable all of these and put the film grain to 0. So now we have all the basic quality settings here, and you can see the FPS is around 105 to 110. So now we get into view. You can see field of view. This one is very weird. So right now I'm at 107 FPS, and if I aim straight up, I get around 120. But it's like, the more of the map you show, it reduces your FPS. So if you're actually like running around aiming like headshot level, then you will get more FPS than if you look down. And if I turn it out, or turn it down to like 80, you can see I get 130 FPS instead of 110 or 7. But also if I look up here, I get like, sometimes you can get lower FPS if you play, because it shows more detail. So it's a weird setting, but for the most part, if you have it on 120, you will have more FPS because you're not looking down all the time. So keep it on 120 and this one on affected. And then these two on least, and this one doesn't matter. So yeah, that's the settings, and I hope you all learned something and had fun in COD, and I'll see you in another video. Have a good one.